So next we discuss compactness, the section compactness in a metric space. Okay. So for that, to define compactness, first we define what is an open cover of a metric space. Okay. Before telling the definition, I will say what's a cover. A cover. A cover means if A is a subset of B, implies B is a cover of A. B is a cover of A. The cover means is a set containing something. If a set containing another set, then that superset is called a cover of that subset. For the case, if A is a subset of B, then we can say that B is a cover of capital A. Of a cover means is a something which includes something it covers. Okay. So an open cover means it is a cover in which the set is open. The set is open. That means if A contained in B and B is an open set, then B is an open cover. B is an open cover of A. This is the case of two sets in a metric space. Okay. Now suppose capital XD is a metric space. Capital XD is a metric space and E is a subset of capital XD. Then an open cover of capital E means which is a collection of open sets. So we consider some open sets G1, G2, G3, G4, G5, etc. This is G1, G2, etc. etc. Then we consider union of that G alphas. G alpha means G1, G2, etc. these elements. So union alpha G alpha is said to be a cover of E because their union will cover capital E. Their union will include capital E. Their union will include capital E. Therefore, that collection, those sets whose union includes capital E, that sets, collection of that sets are called open cover. Open cover. So, collection is said to be open cover if union alpha G alpha includes capital E. Clear? For example, consider some set A E equal to closed open interval 0 1 in or closed interval 0 1 in real line with the usual metric. Real line with the usual metric, standard metric. Okay, we consider is it closed interval 0 1 in real line with the usual metric. Okay. Now take G alpha equal to collection of all minus 1 by n, comma, n equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. Natural numbers. N belongs to J or n equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. Natural numbers. Then what is G1? G1 equal to minus 1, 1. Open interval minus 1, 1. And what is G2? Minus 1 by 2, 1 by 2, etc. etc. What is Gn? Minus 1 by n, 1 by n. So clearly, each Gi is an open interval. So we know that open intervals are open in real line with the usual metric. Therefore, G1, G2, etc., Gn, etc., all Gi's are or all G alphas are open sets in real line with the usual metric. Since open intervals are open in real line with the usual metric implies each G alpha is open. Okay. Now, consider here, this is closed interval 0, 1. G1 is interval minus 1, 1. G2 is minus 1 by 2, 1 by 2. Right? And G3 is minus 1 by 3, 1 by 3, etc. Then their union will clearly contain open interval 0 1 ആണ് നമ്മുടെ സെറ്റ്. Open interval 0 1. Okay, which implies union alpha G alpha contains or includes open interval 0 1. Therefore, collection G alpha equal to set of all intervals of the form minus 1 by n comma n equal to 1 2 3 is an open cover of capital E equal to open interval 0 1. So being an open cover of a set means collection of open sets whose union will include that set. Okay. Next definition. A subset K of a metric space X is said to be compact if every open cover of K contains a finite subcover. So what it means? Suppose we have a metric space XD and K is a subset of X and K is said to be compact if we take any open cover of K, we need to get a subcover. Subcover means subset of this collection which cover K and its cardinality is finite. That means example suppose we take E is equal to open interval 0 1, then you can see in that set of all collection minus 1 by n comma 1 by n equal to 1 2 3 etc. form a open cover of E. And this collection has infinitely many elements. Yes, G1, G2, G3 etc. So this collection has infinitely many elements. Their union will cover open interval 0 1. Right? 0 1. This is our set open interval 0 1. If we take minus 1 by n means what is G1 minus 1 1 and G2 minus 1 by 2 1 by 2. This is 1 minus 1 by 2 1 by 2 minus 1 by 3 1 by 3 etc. So their union means set of all these sets, which means their union certainly will contain the open interval 0 1. Okay, the first set contains open interval 0 1. Therefore, their union will also contains open interval 0 1. Right? Therefore, this collection will form a open cover for open interval 0 1 for capital E. Right? If we take another collection, suppose this collection is some G alpha. If we take another collection F alpha is equal to set of all intervals of the form minus n equal to 1 2 3 etc. And what are these sets? We have open interval 0 1, our set capital E. Now, what is F1? F1 is interval minus 1 1. What is F2? Interval minus 2 2. Minus 1 1 means minus 1 to 1. Minus 2 2 means minus 2 to 2. And minus 3 to 3. So the sets are increasing in form. Therefore, certainly will contain open interval 0 1. So this is also a collection which form an open cover for open interval 0 1. Therefore, there may be exist more than one open cover for a same set for a same metric space. Therefore, the compactness says that a set is said to be compact if any open cover, if we consider any open cover of that set, we need to find out a finite subcover for the same set. What is a finite subcover? Clearly, G alpha form an open cover. Okay. Now, if we take G1 is minus 1 to 1. The set G1 is enough to cover open interval 0 1. Therefore, G1 is a finite subcover. Clearly, G1 is a subset of G alpha, collection G alpha. Therefore, G1 is a subcover of G alpha. Why? G1 itself contain open interval 0 1. Therefore, G1 is a finite subcover of collection G alpha. Finite subcover of collection G alpha to cover capital E. Now, consider this example. Collection F alpha is clearly infinite collection. Now, what is F1? F1 is minus 1 to 1. So, if we take F1 comma F2, the set collection, the set F1 comma F2, which is clearly a subcollection of F alpha, which is clearly a subcollection of F alpha. F alpha means F1, F2, F3, etc. There are infinitely many elements, and F1, F2 are a proper subset of collection F alpha. So F1, F2 is a subcollection or subcover of F alpha, and also we can see that open interval 0, 1 is completely contained in interval minus 1, 1, and this is F1, which implies open interval 0, 1 will be completely contained in the collection F1, F2, and which is a subcollection of collection F alpha. So collection F alpha is an open cover of open interval 0, 1, and it has a subcover F1, F2, and this also contains open interval 0, 1, means the open cover F alpha of open interval 0, 1 has a finite subcover F1, F2. That means it has a subcover which contains finite number of elements to cover open interval 0, 1. Okay, which implies the open cover F alpha of E has a finite subcover. So whenever we can say that every open cover of any set E has a finite subcover in a metric space, then that sets are called compact sets. So for any compact sets, every open cover will have a finite subcover. Clear? Another example, consider the metric space real line with the usual metric. Is real line compact in this metric? Is real line compact in this metric? So to check R is compact or not, we need to find whether every open cover of R contains a finite subcover. Okay, now consider collection G alpha is equal to interval of the form minus n varying over natural numbers 1, 2, 3, etc. So what is that? Interval minus 1, 1. This is G1. G2 minus 2, 2. G3 minus 3, 3. Intervals. Then if we consider union of these G alphas, surely that will contain real line. It is increasing on order, so it will be increases to infinity. This goes to plus infinity and this goes to minus infinity. Therefore, probably these union of G alphas will cover real line. Therefore, clearly G alpha is an open cover of real line. Why it is an open cover? Which covers capital R. Is it an open cover? Yes, because every elements in this collection are open intervals, and we know that open intervals are open sets in real numbers with the usual metric. Therefore, each G alpha is open, and which cover their union will form real line itself. Therefore, G alpha is an open cover for real line in the metric usual. Okay. Now we have to check G alpha has a finite subcover of R. Yes, now we have to check whether G alpha contains a finite subcover to cover the whole real line. Okay, can you consider any finite number of G alphas whose union will cover real line? If we consider some 10 terms, minus 1 to 1, minus 2 to 2, minus 3 to 3, etc., minus 10 to 10, which will not cover real line. If we consider 100 sets in G alpha, then also that union cannot contain real number. Therefore, if we consider any finite number of elements in this collection which does not include the real line completely, therefore, this is an open cover for real numbers, but it has no finite subcover. Right? There exists no finite subcollection of these G alpha which fully contain or which fully cover real line. Therefore, I can say that G alpha is an open cover of R, but G alpha contains no finite subcover to cover capital R. Therefore, real line is not compact with respect to usual metric. Okay? Because by definition, every open cover of a set has a finite subcover to become a compact set. Here, in the case of real numbers, G alpha form an open open cover, but it has no finite subcover. Therefore, there exists some open cover of real numbers which has no finite subcover, which is a negation statement of definition. Therefore, real line is not compact. Therefore, G alpha form an open cover of R with usual metric, but no finite collection of G alpha can cover R fully. Therefore, collection G alpha has no finite subcover to cover real numbers. Therefore, real number with the usual metric is not a compact set. The whole set R is not compact in real line with the usual metric. Okay. So, next theorem. Let XD be a metric space and E is a finite subset of capital X, then E is compact set in capital X. That is, suppose XD is a metric space and E is a subset which is finite. Finite x1, x2, etc. xn. Only finite number of elements are belongs to capital E. Then we have to prove that E is compact. Finite implies compact. That is, finiteness implies compactness. The theorem says that a set is finite implies it is always compact. Okay. Now, how can you prove this result? So, let E subset of X be finite. So, we taken a finite set. Since it is finite, their elements are finite numbers, finite in number. Therefore, E can be written some x1, x2, etc. xn. Okay. We have to prove that E is compact in X. That is, every open cover of E has a finite subcover. By definition, we have to prove that every open cover of capital E has a finite subcover. Okay. So, how to prove this result? We take an open cover belongs to capital E, then we prove that it has a finite subcover arbitrarily. So, let collection G alpha be an open cover of E in capital X, which implies G alpha is an open cover implies union G alpha will include capital E. So, collection G alpha is an open cover of E means E is contained in union alpha G alpha and each G alpha is open. Cover means their union will contain the set. Open cover means each element in this collection will be open. Okay. So, G alpha is an open cover means E contained in their union and each element G alpha is open in capital X. Since capital X is the whole metric space. Okay. Now we have Xi belongs to capital E for every I equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. N. Because E has finite number of elements, let it be x1, x2, etc. xn that we have already taken. Therefore, each Xi belongs to capital E for every I equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. N. Which implies Xi belongs to union alpha G alpha because the whole set E can be covered by union alpha G alpha. Therefore, every element also can be included by union alpha G alpha. So, which implies Xi belongs to union implies Xi belongs to G alpha for some alpha. So, I take Xi belongs to G alpha I for some alpha I. Okay. Which implies x1 belongs to G alpha 1, x2 belongs to G alpha 2, etc. xn will be belongs to G alpha n. Okay. We have taken x1 belongs to G alpha 1, xi will be belongs to G alpha I for some I. We take the open set in the collection G alpha containing x1 is G alpha 1. We enumerate in such a way that G alpha 1 contains x1, G alpha 2 contains x2, etc. G alpha n contains xn. Okay. Then consider consider the collection G alpha 1, G alpha 2, etc. G alpha n. Clearly, which is a subcollection of G alpha. Clearly, which is a subcollection of G alpha because these are elements of collection G alpha. Therefore, these finite number of elements form a subcollection of G alpha. So, I can write collection G alpha 1, G alpha 2, etc. G alpha n, this finite collection is a subcollection of collection G alpha. And which is finite. And which is finite in number. And there are how many of elements here? G alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. alpha n. Therefore, n number of elements are in this collection. Therefore, this collection is finite. Note that the collection is finite need not imply each G alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. G alpha n are finite sets. Doesn't mean like that. This collection is finite means this collection has finite number of elements. Not even say that each Gi is finite. Okay. Finite in number. Also we have x1 belongs to G alpha 1 and x2 belongs to G alpha 2, etc. xi belongs to G alpha I for all I equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. n, which implies the set x1, x2, etc. xn will be contained in G alpha 1 union, G alpha 2 union, etc. union G alpha n, because x1 belongs to this set, x2 belongs to this set, etc. xn belongs to this set. Therefore, this full set can be contained in this finite number of union of sets, which implies this is nothing but capital E. These are the elements in capital E. Therefore, the whole elements in capital E represent this set. Therefore, this is nothing but capital E. Therefore, capital E is contained in G alpha 1, G alpha 2, etc. G alpha n, union of this finite number of sets, union I equal to 1 to n, G alpha I. This can be written like this. If we take values for I equal to 1, G alpha 1, I equal to 2, G alpha 2, and their union up to n. So, which implies G alpha 1, G alpha 2, etc. G alpha n is a finite subcover for the collection G alpha, which also cover capital E, which implies collection G alpha has a finite subcover to cover capital E in capital X, which implies every open cover of E has a finite subcover in capital X, which implies capital E is compact because we have chosen arbitrarily a open cover. So, that arbitrarily chosen open cover has a finite subcover means every open cover will has a finite subcover. Therefore, by definition, E will be compact in capital X. So, that's the proof. Please watch repeatedly and prepare note for yourself.